latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here, and with me is our brother in sound I mentioned, John Anthony. He's the host of Black and Right Radio, Saturdays 4 to 7 p.m. on these airwaves. Also the host of Detroit's Morning Answer. Yeah, we got one of those in Detroit, too. 92.7 FM, weekdays 6 to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. And his new book, Letters to John Boy. This is a tough one. So hunker down. Cinch it up and hunker down, as Hawk Harrelson would say. John, thanks for being on. Appreciate it.
Dan, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So, by the way, if you want an autographed copy of John's new book, Letters to John, blackandrightradio.com. If you want just a regular old copy, Amazon and all the normal places. I got an autographed copy.
That's right.
And in my copy, he'll write it exactly the inscription that you dictate to him, because he wrote to me, to Dan, "You are truly a generational talent. I'm blessed to know you," which is exactly what I asked you to write.
That is exactly.
So thank you. I mean, he follows instructions, no question. I've read the book. The letters are very, very tough.
Yeah.
For people who don't know the backstory, please share it.
Well, first of all, let me start by thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, of course.
That's why I put a disclaimer in there as well, just so that because it's a tough subject, it's about suicide.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody coming after me, saying anything. So I put a disclaimer in there, just forewarning people the topic of what you're going to be reading. So back in November of 2021, my son, John Wesley Christian Anthony, committed suicide. It was, Dan, I can't even begin to explain to you the mental anguish that night produced. So we're all right before it happens. My son, I mean, he was the happiest. He was just, we were hungry, so he went out to get us something to eat. He came back at about 10 p.m. at that night. My daughter, my 18-year-old daughter, had come into our room. What was that sound? Now we have this picture that hangs up downstairs, and it falls, and it's really loud. It sounds like, what would be perceived. It's very, very loud. And we told her, well, that's probably the picture. Go back and lay down. Well, at about 1 o'clock in the morning, there's a ringing of our doorbell and a pounding on our door. As a parent, you're like, oh, my God, what's going on? So I'm in my skeevies. I go downstairs, and I open the door. It's Joliet Police. And he goes, I'm looking for John Anthony. And I'm like, well, I'm John Anthony. He goes, no, you're too old. I'm like, well, thank you. I said, he said, is there another John? I said, yeah, it's my son. I said, well, he should be upstairs. So my wife and daughter, my 18-year-old, had waken up about this time. And I'm sorry, I'm starting to relive it. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to get through this.
Yeah.
And I yell his name. My wife and my daughter are there at the close to his door now. And they open the door and turn on the light and let out the most heart-wrenching scream and yell you could ever hear. And Dan, I knew something was wrong. And me and the officer, we run. He pushes me out the way. By the time he gets there with the flashlight, I catch up with him. And I see my son laying there. And he had like the biggest hole in his head. And you see brain matter still leaking out. And I just fell right there. And I screamed, and I don't remember what happened after that. I really don't. And I lost my boy, my only son. And, living with this the last 4 years, as you can see, I'm emotional because I still feel like I'm there that night seeing my son gone. And throughout the years preceding this, after this, I should say, I held in so much, and I said to myself, and I'm not saying that I hear God's voice audibly, but I heard a whisper, write the book about it. It's time. People need to hear. what actually happened. And so Letters to John Boy was birthed. And in this book, I write letters to John Boy. And then I wrote letters to my daughters on behalf of John. And then
you have 5 daughters.
I have 5 daughters.
Just mention that.
Yeah. 22, 18, 12, and 2 8-year-old twin girls. And there's a section in here called If Heaven Had Papers. And it's John writing to each one of us to help us navigate the pain of losing him. It's been tough.
Yeah, I mean it's very raw. It comes across in these letters. I mean it's tough stuff, but I don't mean to say that in the sense of it's graphic. It's just very poignant. It's very emotional, as you can hear John tell the story. So I mean I'm highly recommending it because it's really thoughtful. And one of the things I like about what you did in so many of the letters is you have a note for parents reading this, and then you have a scriptural reference.
Yes, and a prayer.
And a prayer.
Yeah.
And so you know that that bolt on to your letter to your son, your letters to your son. What was the thought behind that?
Well, because Dan, I'm spending the rest of my life to try to fight this thing, so that no parent has to sit before Dan Proft and talk about losing their kid this violently through suicide. And so what I do is I try to offer a bit of advice, because there were things I saw, but because I was so busy, I didn't address things. And I wish I did. And so I give parents like what to look for. What, you know, when you want to scream and yell at the kid, instead of screaming and yelling, take time, take a deep breath. So I give them advice of what to do when certain things, because I went back over as I was writing this, and when I was thinking about all the things, all the mistakes I made with him, all the things that he saw my own failure. That hurts. That still hurts today, Dan. And so I want parents to know you're not alone in this. I want to offer them what I found. Scripture. Scripture has been. I'm not perfect, Dan. I've never proclaimed to be perfect. I never want to be perceived as perfect. That's why I didn't send this to a publisher, because I wanted the raw, authentic voice to be heard, so that this can help so many more people. I'm not even, Dan, I don't care about money. I was just in D.C., Jack Brewer.
Well, I know you don't care about money. You work for the Salem Radio. I got that.
But Jack Brewer, he's in prisons, and I told him, I want to give you this book at what I pay, just so the message can get out. Think about prisoners who have given up. That's what this book is about, too. People who are on the verge.
Jack Brewer, the former Viking.
The former Viking, yeah. I was just in D.C. with him at the White House. And I told him, he looked at me, he said, let's make it happen. And if I can give this book for free, Dan, I would. But there's costs associated to doing the book. But if I can give it out for free, I would, because I really believe in the message of a father's journey through grief, faith, and redemption.
So how is the book, going through this process to write all that's contained in that book? And then I assume there were then you laying yourself bare, and then family reading it, and then you having conversations with mom and your daughters about this too. And has that been, cathartic on some level to have these conversations and to be able to talk openly and to try to cope?
Yeah. Well, it was technically published through my wife's publishing company, Grace to Govern. So my wife Deb had a huge hand in making sure this got out. My 2 oldest daughters, I actually sent them each one of their letters, and they loved it. My 12-year-old, she's still struggling with even talking about what happened, because we didn't tell her initially, but she found out.
Yeah.
Because she went to school and they all started talking about it. But my 2-year-old twins, my oldest twin, Karis, there's some letters I didn't read to her, but she looked at me and she said, Dad, I want to know. And can you read the letters to me, especially my letter? And so I read it to her, and it's brought a lot of healing to the family. It really has. And I don't, as much as healing as we can take, because you never really fully get over this, Dan. It's, I had somebody. I'm part of a lot of suicide groups, and
Yeah.
one of the persons posted in there. You know, they call it when you lose a husband, you're widowed. You widow. When you lose a wife, you know what I'm saying. You're a widow.
Widow.
But what do they
widower,
widow and widowed? But what do you call a parent who loses a kid? There's no name for it, Dan. They haven't come up with a name because it's unnatural. It's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to bury your own kids, and it's tough. It really is.
Well, the other thing about this is there's a lot of fun stuff in the
Yeah.
book too,
Yeah.
and I wanted to get to some of that because I didn't know that you guys lived next to and were friends with, and your son was friends with Sergio McClain, the great basketball player at Peoria Emmanuel and then U of I.
Yeah.
And by the way, Sergio McClain, one of two. This is a little test for you, see if you're a baller or not, or at least trivia. One of two players in Illinois State basketball history to lead his team to 4 state titles.
Oh yeah.
Sergio
Peoria.
McClain. Sergio McClain was one.
Oh,
can
is
you
it
name,
Frank?
Can you name the other?
Either Frank Williams or
No.
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 Don't say D.
D. Martin.
No, I don't know. You got me on this one.
Dean Martin.
No, D.
D. Brown.
D. Brown.
Jabari Parker. Simeon.
Oh, yeah, Simeon. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I didn't know that one.
All right. I just wanted to show off my, high school basketball trivia chops.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Sergio McClain. I mean, like that's got to be cool. When he's coming up as a kid,
Yeah.
and you've got this really high school. I mean, it sort of flamed out after college.
Yeah.
No offense, but I mean, a high school basketball legend, and you're friends with him, and he was a basketball fan.
Yeah, and my son would go to all of the U of I games
Yeah.
because Coach Wayne McClain was
Yeah.
the assistant head basketball coach. So, but I'm gonna tell you, Dan, I don't know if you love a peach cobbler, but Mom McClain can make a mean peach cobbler. And
Really?
So, oh yes, and I mean they invited us over. They were the greatest neighbors I think I've ever had because and they were so kind to us. Soon as we moved in, they took us in like we were family. And I can't forget DJ McClain, the sister. She was also, they were just amazing to us. And I loved it. And my son was able to go and meet all of the U of I basketball players. He would go to games, football games, baseball games.
So I mean, and this again is contained in the letters and letters to John Boy, but you recount a bunch of moments that every father has. The moment where he's mimicking you shaving in the mirror.
Yeah.
And the times you had talking hoops, playing hoops with Sergio McClain, things like that. I mean, so is part of this an effort to recall all the joy that he brought and the great times to sort of, push away the darkness?
Yes. And because I don't want my son to be remembered as a kid who committed suicide.
Yeah.
He brought a lot of Dan. He's talked so many. Finding out after the fact, he's talked so many kids out of suicide. I mean, he was the life of the party. In any place he was the guy that made everybody's life come to life. That's who he was. And COVID had a lot to do with his breakdown, Dan, because he was on the basketball team. He wasn't able to go play basketball. He wasn't able to go and do a lot of things. Now, that was a part that, my wife kind of made me push out because this book could have been 250 pages, and I took like 4 or 5 chapters out. Because my wife, because I try to live the authentic life there. I see life differently. I look at people differently now because you just never know what people are going through in their own lives. So when I come into a person's life now, I try to be that hope that they need instead of that rash that they don't need. I try to offer hope in every person. And that's what I try to bring out in radio on Black and Right as well as the Detroit's Morning Answer. I want to be not just a person because I've had my own downfalls. You know this. Everybody in the world knows this. And I didn't want John Anthony to also be known as the failure. And it was because of a lot of my failures, Dan, that I think I want my kids and the rest of the world to know that you can fall. Just get back up. Show back up. That's what living this life is about. That's the next book that I've written, The Broken Leader. And I can't wait to release that in the fall.
Someone once said that to live is to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. John Anthony is the host of Detroit's Morning Answer, 92.7 FM, weekdays 6 to 8 a.m. Central Time. Also the host of Black and Right Radio Saturdays on these airwaves from 4 to 7. And again, the book is Letters to John Boy, A Father's Journey Through Grief, Faith, and Redemption. You can get it blackandrightradio.com, blackandrightradio.com, and he'll autograph it for you. You can also get it on Amazon. And
First person to call in, you can give this. I'll mail it away.
Okay. All right. So give us a call, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, and the first person who calls in gets a free copy of Letters to John Boy. John, thanks so much for joining us, and great work here.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. It means a lot coming from you.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $257. There are only two good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part? My guidance costs you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side. Your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
Chronic migraine, 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or